Hey, what's up everybody? This is Muth24, and today I'm going to be doing a review of Deadpool Kills Deadpool. This is a tradeback graphic novel, compiling all the issues from the Deadpool Kills Deadpool storyline. This is sort of just a single arc that is self-contained. It doesn't really deal with much of the other Deadpool stuff, really insofar as I know, but it does bring the Deadpool core into the picture, and is just sort of a good combination of the fun, silly Deadpool and the more action-oriented, a little bit grittier and darker Deadpool. And so it's nice that they found a good balance with this one. Because depending on who's writing the story, a lot of times Deadpool will either be like super wacky and bizarre and just, you know, pulling pop culture references out of nowhere, or super dark, super like menacing, almost psychotic. So this one I felt like they found a really good balance between those two. Because to me that's what Deadpool really is, or that's the Deadpool that I prefer, is to have sort of that balance between absolute, like, murderous crazy and just bonkers, ridiculous, silly. So the main focus of the story, they basically just throw it out there right off the bat, is that there's a whole plethora of alternate universes, as there always have been in Marvel stories. But in this case, there's a bunch of different Deadpools from across different universes, and that somewhere along the way there was a Deadpool who believed that he was the progenitor of everything, and that to go back to the creation of everything, he had to kill off all the other Deadpools, not just kill off all the people in his universe, but kill off all the Deadpools in all the other universes. So there's sort of this motion to gather different Deadpools into different groups who are either, for that idea or against it, and it's interesting to see, our main Deadpool, our main hero, how he handles everything, because he starts off not having any clue what's going on and just sort of gets dragged into everything. But he does sort of develop his own, more serious take on things as the story progresses. So, as far as the Deadpool core goes, you have, Ladypool, you have Headpool, I believe is there in the beginning, not for very long. You have Kidpool, and then you have a bunch of other new Deadpool characters that they just sort of made up for this comic arc, and it's kind of fun to see the different designs that they came up with. Like, basically, I think the artist just kind of decided to have a field day with it and come up with some really cool stuff. And I won't spoil some of the the best ones later on, but some of my personal favorites are, what do you call them? Golden Age Gas Mask is the nickname that Deadpool gives to him, and it's basically a reimagining of Deadpool if he were from, the 40s when Captain America was first getting big, and it's just kind of funny to see a Deadpool that's more, I don't know, takes himself a little more seriously, even though he's still very much a goofy character. And then we have Pandapool, just because it's a Deadpool panda, why not? But then you do also have some of the other characters who are regulars from the other Deadpool storylines. There's also a Groot Deadpool there from Guardians. So it's a fun little run of a story there. It does wrap up pretty well, I feel. The pacing is a little different than what you might expect. It's not kind of all non-stop action. They do have to stop at a couple points and explain, how things got to be the way that they are, and sort of explain that, despite the fact that the main Deadpool is determined to stop this other crazy maniac Deadpool who's trying to kill off all the other Deadpools, not all of them buy into that same idea. Some of them have sort of been brainwashed by the evil Deadpool, if you will. So it's kind of interesting to see, like, all these different takes on Deadpool. Even though they're different versions of Deadpool, they all sort of still bear elements of his personality. And it's not a story that you need to take too seriously, because it is written mostly for fun. Because, at the end of the day, even when Deadpool's killed 1,000 clones of himself or whatever, there's still that whole regenerative ability that he has, so who's to say if they're actually dead or not? But you know, when he gets back to his own universe at the end, it's like, that was fun to do. It's nothing that, you know, is to be taken too seriously, which is kind of how they do most Deadpool stories anyways, is that, well, at least if they're not, like, a writer who takes them more seriously as like a dark, gritty type character. But a lot of times Deadpool stories are just there for fun, sort of a, you know, comic relief. And it is fun to see the way that they incorporate Deadpool's two sides of his brain talking to himself here. It's not as prominent in this as it is in like the Dark Reign, X Marks the Spot issues that I have. There it's a lot more frequent because that's just about Deadpool. Like this one you have the whole Deadpool core and you have a bunch of other Deadpool clones and stuff. So there's plenty of other voices taking up speech bubbles on the pages, but it's well drawn enough. I mean, it's not anything super spectacular in terms of art, but I think it's handled well enough. You know, kind of typical of the Marvel style nowadays. And yeah, they've got some really fun cover art variants in here. If I can flip through and find them, maybe. Yeah, like there's one with Pandapool and a Luchador, Deadpool. Looking for the Chimichanga stand. If I can find it. Yeah. That one I really liked. But yeah, they do some cool stuff with those cover arts. And I guess my recommendation would be, like, if you like a quick, easy read that's a good balance of fun Deadpool and crazy, maniacal, psychotic Deadpool, this is a good meeting point between those two. Like I said, nothing you would take too seriously because it's basically just written for fun, sort of almost like a what if scenario, really. Because again, at the end of the day, he's got regenerative abilities, and it doesn't really matter if Deadpool dies or not. But yeah, it's a fun read, it's a quick read. So if you're into Deadpool, and do know that this is still an adult comic book, as they say on the back, like the parental advisory thing is there. It's not so much because there's any real sexual content in here, or that much swearing even. It's mostly just because it's bloody and violent, and there's gore. So that's just something to keep in mind, you know, for readers, that it is still technically an adult comic book, even though it's just more for the violence sake than anything else. But that's pretty much it for this review, and with that, I will see you guys next time.